Good morning, Walker Valley, and welcome back to The Spill. My name is Emily Biller.
And my name is Alana Gerhart. Today, we've got a brand new episode of 73 Seconds and Spooky Pixels.
And we'll be talking about Super Tuesday, DECA, and Spring Break. All that and more on today's episode of The Spill.
Alright guys, this is the game plan. We gotta do this as quickly as possible, that way we can go to the stable.
All right, everybody listen up. We got to get this Spill episode out, and we're going to do it slow and steady. Quality over quantity. Nobody moves too fast, all right?
Okay, so here we go. I want you on the news desk, and I want you on the news desk. I want you to set up the audio. Got it?
Yeah!
Let's go!
It's all right, you click those buttons really slow. Listen, we get through this episode together, everybody gets Bucky Bucks.
Yeah!
All right, break!
Yeah!
And we're live in 3,
2,
1.
action. Alright guys, this is...
Here at 73 Seconds, we like to teach people about things in 73 seconds. Why 73 seconds? I don't know. From wagons to bottles, from farming to industrial. This is the history of milk. More on 73 seconds. Milk was first sold in a horse-drawn wagon. The milkman would scoop the milk into any container that the milk buyers brought. That includes cups, bowls, plates, houses. They could bring it, they scooped it. The wagon method, as I like to call it, worked well into the 19th century until the urban population began to expand into the Industrial Revolution. The milk wagon could not stand the test of time as different milk innovations were invented. This includes the milk bottles, the milk tank car. Even later, in the 1890s, a milk entrepreneur named William Mering created the Mering milk machine. He used this machine to produce milk cartons that was then sent worldwide at mass. This is the history of milk.
Monday, March 4th, 2024, a fatal plane crash occurred in Nashville, causing the loss of 5 lives. A small, single-engine plane crashed along Interstate 40 in Nashville, Tennessee. While the drivers on the interstate were left entirely unharmed, the pilot, the adult, and the other 3 children aboard all lost their lives. Starting yesterday, March 5th, the Federal Aviation Administration and National Transportation Safety Board began to investigate the case. According to the investigation, the 5 victims were all Canadian citizens, but their identities have yet to be released, along with the cause of the crash. As we mourn the losses of these lives, investigation will continue for the foreseeable future.
The development of a new bill could result in tax refunds for thousands of Tennessee businesses. The Tennessee Department of Revenue announced on Monday that the bill would allow more than 100,000 small businesses to no longer have to file a business tax. The terms and conditions of the Tennessee Works Tax Act that was implemented on April 19th of 2023 directly states that businesses with an annual gross in sales under $100,000 will be exempt from filing a business tax. To spread the word, the Department of Revenue recently sent letters to businesses instructing them that they will no longer be subject to the business tax during the upcoming tax seasons.
Yesterday, March 5th, marked Super Tuesday. Super Tuesday refers to the largest primary voting day for the United States presidential election before the official election day in November. In the state of Tennessee, current President Joe Biden won the Democratic primary and former President Donald Trump won the Republican primary. Additionally, they have both claimed victory in Oklahoma, Virginia, and North Carolina. Currently, the two talked-about candidates lead their respecting parties, and many expect them to be the two final nominees in the November election.
This is expected to be highly anticipated for an event for superfans of college basketball, especially March Madness. Number 1 seed will definitely feel a lot of pressure going into the tournament, since number 1 seeds usually don't win. That's not to say it's a guarantee, since it's not a guarantee since anything could happen in these tournaments. While we at Walker Valley High School condone being excited for this event, we do not condone getting an unnecessary surgery just to have an excuse to sit on your couch all day watching the game. One man who's been pressured to get off his couch is Scott Boras. Another major client, Matt Chapman, just signed a deal with the San Francisco Giants for 3 years, with him making $54 million, with 2 opt-outs and 1 mutual option, which means he and the team has to agree that he gets another year. While this signing worries me as a Dodgers fan, there is no denying that he might be the man to watch in San Francisco, since longtime shortstop Brandon Crawford signed with the St. Louis Cardinals for a 1-year deal. Now on to Walker Valley sports. On Thursday, the Walker Valley boys played in the regional tournament, winning against Bradley, with the score being 76-66. What a great season for the boys team. Speaking of Bradley, the softball team is a game against Bradley at 5. There will be a JV soccer scrimmage, SCAS, at 5. That was all for sports today at Walker Valley. Now on to a segment of Spooky Pixels.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Spooky Pixels. I'm your host Matthew Norris.
And I'm your co-host Aiden Phillips.
And today we're going to be talking about the game that's totally not related to any NES game that was released in the 1980s, Duck Season. The virtual reality horror game first released in September 14th, 2017. The game was developed by Stress Level Zero, who wanted to make a game that brought back the nostalgia that the 1980s had, like VHS players, retro gaming consoles like the Super Nintendo and the NES, and much more to give off that childhood feelings for those who were kids during that time.
That is most definitely true, because my dad was a kid during the 1980s. He told me about games like Super Mario Bros. And Excitebike. But this game has a bunch of horror vibes that's definitely what we're talking about. The game revolves around a boy named David and his mother who rents out the game Duck Season and decides to play the game until it needs to be returned. It starts off with you playing as the hunter, shooting the ducks as the mascot looks on. Eventually, the game starts to change whenever you do stuff like shoot the dog or play certain VHS tapes. The player slowly starts to realize that they have to piece together a story, which has 7 endings, which can range around defeating the dog or end up playing the hit RPG Final Fiesta.
That is correct. Although the game does have some funny moments, it still manages to hold on to that feeling of uneasiness and horror, which is really good.
If you do, what do you like about this game in VR?
Mainly on how it uses, the aspects it's trying to replicate, which is Duck Hunt, actually, if you did not know. Mainly on how it starts out normal and then creeps you in towards the horror, which makes the horror more effective.
Okay then. Do you think more companies should be investing into VR to make their horror games?
Yes, but I would probably say be careful if any companies were listening, because VR horror is a very difficult space. Even like normal horror, it's a very difficult space because you gotta get right kind of emotion to bring to that. And you can't just do jump scares, which is just surprising. You actually gotta have horror in it.
Okay then.
Well, I believe that's all the time we have today for this episode. In conclusion, Duck Season shows how to make a really good VR horror game. It gives off a greater sense of fear since you're up close to the monsters. I've been your host, Matthew Norris,
And I've been your host, Aiden Phelps.
and we'll see you on another episode of Spooky Pixels.
DECA State Career Development Conference happened this past weekend, and here are the results. An impressive 38 Walker Valley students ranging from freshmen to seniors went to participate in the competition, and 10 of our competitors qualified for the international competition in Anaheim, California. The students who qualified are Hannah Keynes, Jimbo Canada, Tatiana Chagala, Layla Gerhart, Nora Henley, Cami Hicks, Zane McSpadden, Avery Pitts, and Addison Philpott. Congratulations to all DECA members who competed at this year's SCDC competition, and good luck to all those headed to Cali.
Spring break is approaching quickly. Bradley County Schools will be off school the week of March 11th through the 15th for spring break. All extracurricular activities will also be postponed for the break unless otherwise specified by activity leaders or coaches. All teachers and students will return on the following Monday, March 18th. All normally scheduled activities will resume from there.
The Walker Valley football team is selling bags of mulch for $5 each. The mulch comes in 3 different colors: red, brown, and black. The football team will install the mulch for you with an installation fee at a cost depending on how many bags you have ordered. Orders are due Friday, March 29th. The estimated delivery date is Saturday, April 20th. Local delivery is included. You can contact any football player if you or anyone you know is interested in purchasing some mulch.
Good morning, Walker Valley, and welcome back to today's weather segment. As you can see, it seems like they throw a whole bucket of water around here, except for Nashville, which seems to have a teeny bit of sun and a bit of clouds. Nashville's a high of 64 and a low of 52. Knoxville, we have a high of 60 and a low of 50. Cleveland, a high of 63 and a low of 50. Chattanooga, a high of 65 and a low of 52. And last but not least, Little Atlanta, high of 61 and a low of 51. Now moving on to the weather radar. The rain seems to be never ending, especially considering seems to be tornado month and the rainy weather month. Hopefully it should die down by the end of the day, but we can't really guarantee that considering that Tennessee's weather can be very wonky. Now moving on to the 3-day weather segment. As you can see, Wednesday, we have a bit of rain, high of 62 and a low of 49. It seems to be getting better on Thursday with a high of 70 and a low of 49. But then, on Friday, it seems to be getting worse with a high of 68 and a low of 54. Well, that's all for today's weather. I'm your host, Tatiana, and let's tune back in to today's studio segment.
That's all for today's episode of The Spill. My name is Alana Gerhart.
And my name is Emily Biller. Have a wonderful Wednesday, Walker Valley.